Good morning. How are we doing today? This is James Sweeney, aka SplitSuit. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to review a hand sent in by Pat. This is with aces in a live 1-3 game. And without further ado, let's check it out. Alright, in this situation, there's a limp, there's another limp, and Pat decides to attack to 16 with aces. So I love the fact that we're raising here, but I do have two gripes. First and foremost, we're playing 1-3, so I'm assuming that we can at least start this hand with $300. And that doesn't matter if you've lost a couple of pots, top off if you can. Or if you're buying in short, buy in deeper. Chances are you're going to have a better 100 big blind strategy than a 50 big blind strategy, so I'd like to see us starting with the correct number of big blinds here. Now, the other gripe that I have is with the size here. So I think that if we went to 20 bucks, there's really no continuance difference if we chose 16 versus 20. And in a lot of live tables, especially with my image, it's not uncommon for me to actually go even larger than 20, so it might be something closer to 25. So don't feel like you have to get limited here at 16. Always ask yourself, okay, if I went a little bit larger here, would they still continue at pretty much the same frequency? More often than not in live games, you're going to find a lot of that stickiness, and again, you can exploit that by using larger sizes than maybe you're necessarily used to. So as played, get called by seat 1, seat 4, seat 6 goes away, go 3-way to it. Queen 5-5, check, check, and Pat bets for 40. So I love the fact that we're betting here. Sure, we're dominated by 5x, but we crush so many second best hands, and second best hands that I think can and will continue, right? If they have Queen X, I don't think either of these players are going to fold now, and probably not even that much later. And then also things like sixes through jacks, I think make a lot of sense for continuance here. Now, I don't think seat 4 is going to show up with pocket jacks here, right? They did open limp pre-flop, but seat 1 showing up with something like jacks, 10s, pocket 9s, I think makes a lot of sense given the pre-flop action. So I'm definitely betting here totally with a value mindset. Obviously going to be a little bit nervous and a little bit skittish if we start facing a lot of action later, but at this point I'm feeling very, very comfortable with things. And I love the fact that we're betting, and we're betting on the larger side of the spectrum. End up getting called by seat 1, seat 4 goes away, go heads up to the turn, pretty nasty queen, check, and here decides to bet for 70. So at first glance, you may look at this and say, well, this bet's stupid. This isn't doing anything. There's no value being generated. The queen filling the turn. Now all of a sudden we're crushed by any queen X combos that we're continuing. And you're correct on that, right? If he had queen jack, now all of a sudden we're absolutely smoked. But I will say one very, very important thing. Actually, a couple of important things. One, if they have 5x, I don't think you're getting check raised here. That's at least something to consider. 2, if they have Queen X, yes, they beat us, but now all of a sudden with that second queen on the turn, now all of a sudden a lot of those Queen X combos start to get diminished. That's definitely something to keep in mind. 3 is that if there's diminishing on the Queen X stuff, which of course is never folding, that is starting to put a larger and larger density on things like sixes through jacks, which again I think all makes sense for seat 1, both for calling preflop, for check calling the flop, and I also think for check continuing on the turn. So I love the fact that we're betting 70 here. And the reason why is because I think if seat 1 does have that like sixes through jacks kind of hand, the real hand we're trying to target here, I think you need to shade this down to something closer to half pot like Hero did in order to get continuance from it. So I love the fact that we're betting. I think there's plenty of value to be had. Yes, I think we're going to lose money when they have Queen X or 5X and now they have that boat, but I'm not super stressed about it considering what I'm trying to get value from and how many combos of that I think there are and are going to continue. So I'm loving all of this. Now, yes, it's going to suck if you get check raised and it is what it is, but let's be honest, is that check raise coming from anything second best? I don't think so, but I do think I'm going to get check called by second best and plenty enough of it, because remember, if seat 1 is sitting here with sixes, it's very, very common for him to say, well, I beat ace king, right? Because that's what everyone puts you on for whatever reason at all times. So if that's the case, then all of a sudden they beat that. And they may say, okay, I'm going to get stickier here. Oh, and you gave me a pretty cool price. Awesome, let's continue. So I like the fact that we're betting. I like the fact that the size got shaded down here. I'm really happy with everything so far. So we end up getting called. River is a brick 4, and some of you may look at this and say, well, that does improve the flush draw, and that sucks when he does this. But I'm going to say this real quick. How many flush draws is seat 1 going to show up with? Right? First and foremost, we have the ace of diamonds in our hand, so it's not like he could have like called the flop with ace jack of diamonds trying to like backdoor some stuff. He just really isn't going to show up with anything that's that, right? Because did it really make sense for him to call 8-9 of diamonds on the flop? No, I don't think so, especially not for the price that he called and the fact that he's first to act. I don't think that this is the kind of guy who's going to be check calling the flop. I mean, there's no information that Pat gave, but without that information, I can't assume that diamonds are something I need to be worried about. Now, of course, what we do have to be worried about is 5x, queen x of any variety, so all the boats. So the question is here, getting pretty much 6 to 1, should we be calling, or, like Pat did, should we be folding? So if we just back up a very quick tick, this is a situation where I'm not folding. I'm getting 6 to 1. I don't need to be good all that often. And my major question is, yes, do I think that he would do this with queen x? Yeah, okay, that makes some sense to me. Do I think he would do this with 5x? I'm not as sure about that, although some people certainly will. So, okay, let's just throw all queen x and 5x combos in seat 1's range here. The question I ask myself is he ever doing this with jacks, 10s, 9s, 8, 7, 6s, right? If he's ever doing that with all of those combos, or some of those combos, then all of a sudden we're in a situation where it's like, okay, we can probably get away and expect to win this enough of the time given the pot odds. So because of that, I don't think folding here is going to be correct. Now, in this exact situation, Pat said that he did fold, and seat 1 actually ended up flashing in pocket kings, and while kings isn't really one of the hands that I would have assumed was going to be in that range, it just goes to show you that there can oftentimes be some second best weird combos that you're not necessarily thinking about, but they can be in there more often than not, especially against players who are just simply too wide and simply too optimistic about what they're trying to do. So again, I think this is a situation where Pat misplayed a couple different spots, one with the buy-in, two with the pre-flop sizing. I really liked flop and turn, but I really didn't like this river fold. I think this river fold is leaving far too much money on the table. Again, when you're getting those sick pot odds, you need to be so damn certain before you start making big folds like this. And in this situation, getting roughly 6 to 1, I don't think we can get away with doing that profitably. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Pat, thank you so much for sending in this hand. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you guys have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you're looking for your next step today, I'm going to invite you to, if you haven't already, take my hand reading email course. It's totally free. I'll leave a link on the screen and also in the description box. But you notice that everything in this hand is all about hand reading, right? Yes, there's some combos, but there's just a lot of like, okay, what kind of hands do they likely have? What kind of hands do they likely continue with? And those are the kind of questions that once you can start answering and at least getting close, it's massively going to help you make better decisions in real time. So again, totally free email course, send you a new lesson every single day. Definitely sign up for that if you haven't already. Enjoy it. And again, if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, of course, thank you guys so much for hanging out today. And as always, good luck out there and happy grinding.